live stream, which is going to be day 5 of the Los Angeles riots. And by the way, I have been absolutely immersed into this particular subject matter at hand. I'm going to tell you why, okay? The reason why I got into this subject so much is because I think that what we are witnessing right now is cultural relevance that's going to be a part of history. Big Ink MMA says, hello, how are you, my man? So first one to tap in here. Shout out to Big Ink MMA, my one and only moderator, right? So shout out to my man right here. We have tremendous types of conversations to talk about, straight right into the point. As I was walking right around my neighborhood, right, and I need you to imagine the type of neighborhood that I live in, right? So it's a suburb, but it's also a countryside, near a countryside that's not too far from the main city of Sacramento. So I want you to imagine that, right? The type of demographics we have here. White guy pulls up with his pickup truck. He has his buddy with him, has a big American flag in the back of his truck. And so as I'm looking at the back of his truck with his big American flag, I was like, all right, well, not something that I'm vehemently going to be offended by. I mean, why should I, right? This is a guy who is representing his country. This is the way that he feels. It's totally none of my business. And to a certain extent, I can understand the sentiments that come from nationalists. For example, the aspect of feeling so not only entitled, but feeling rather not entitled, but also feeling rather well compelled to defend what you would call, let's say, a right wing or a conservative position, right? But then I noticed, and I thought to myself, you know what? A guy like this, somebody like, let's say, of a liberal persuasion, would go up to him and say, you know what? You must have a small blank such and such. Now, why would you say something to a guy like that that has an American flag sitting in the back of his pickup truck? Well, for one, you just happen to disagree with him. So what you're going to do is lower him to the lowest common denominator that you can find. But you don't know if that statement is true. You know what I'm talking about. You see a guy with a big American flag in the back of his car, and you often think to yourself, oh, well, this guy must have a small such and such. You know what I'm talking about. You know the vibes. Always trying to lower you down to the lowest common denominator. And I need you to understand that both the left and the right and the center and the Islamists and the people that are everything in between absolutely do this, and they absolutely engage upon it. Now, why is that? It is because whenever you are confronted with an opinion that you don't like, guess what you're going to do? You're going to go and hate that other guy for having that particular opinion. And as a result of having that opinion, you feel and are compelled to wanting to be enemies with this person. It's just a natural human state reaction to things. And this is what I'm noticing with this riot. So yesterday, what we saw was sort of the side of the people that are for the ICE immigration roundabouts that they're doing right now. The people who are into it and that like it, I think you're going to like the previous stream yesterday. Today, I'm going to try to take a look at it from the perspective of the Mexicans. Now, the interesting person, the subject matter of hand that we're going to talk about is this gentleman by the name of American Cholo. Now, for those of you that don't know American Cholo or are not well versed into the gangster slash LA culture podcasting of the world, he is, I'm not going to say he's Mexican, but he's Honduras. But even as a Honduran, he was part of a Mexican gang and he politics with that side of the fence. But he's also very conservative, very well versed in politics, and he voted for Trump in this election. And then after the ICE roundouts that were happening, guess what American Cholo did? He stopped giving Trump support, and he realized that it was a bad idea for him to give support to Trump and again, this is his feelings, not mine. So I need you to understand the difference. Okay. There is a difference between my opinion, and by the way, I have very little opinion on the subject. I mean, think about this, right? I'm an Arab Muslim guy, okay, who grew up with a lot of blacks and Asians in California. So you would imagine that this is not a subject that is dear to my heart, not in a way that, let's say, Muslims were treated in the post 9/11 world. However, I'm looking at this from an outsider point of view, right? So I am neither on the side of the majority white conservatives that are for the immigration process and are for the deportation of these people that they find. But I'm also not for the people that are getting deported up out of here because, you know what, unfortunately to say, there is something to be said about the reality that maybe you should have done the paperwork in order to do what it is that you needed to do to stay here long term, knowing that you're going to have children here, knowing that they're going to go to school. That's one side of the equation. But the other side of the equation is that there are people that have had their hearings canceled. And as a result, what do? Your hearing just got canceled. So what are you supposed to do? Right? You want to go about it the right way. You try to go about it the right way, and you aren't able to. So then as a result, now ICE is coming to your door based on what? The fact that you are an illegal, maybe living here for 30 some odd years. But the reality is the reality, and that is what they wanted to do. They wanted to round out people, maybe as a way of a quota, or maybe as a way of actually getting rid of people out there that are a nuisance to society. Obviously, the rapists, people that touch kids, people that harm the elder, and things of that nature, yes. So they are pushing that out. But then, unfortunately, you have to be very objective about this. They are also kicking out the people that are going to be, let's say, your potential landscapers, people that pick the strawberries, people that are willing to do labor that, let's just be honest, Americans, and even as myself as an Arab, would not do, right? I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Like, let's say if I was in a third world country somewhere visiting, right? And I decided, all right, you know what? I'm going to get into some village action, whatever it is that the villagers do, I'm going to get behind it, right? Maybe that would consist of a hard day's work at a mine. Okay, then I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be opposed to doing that. But you have to understand these people have to put in a certain amount of work in order to survive in this country. And here you have some people who are very privileged. I'll even say it, people like myself, who the only strenuous act that I've really done in my life is sports related. I mean, yes, college was a tough, outing, obviously, being able to study and then having to, compete in professional and semi-professional and amateur Muay Thai and MMA and all of these things, right? They take a lot of time and a lot of discipline, and they are hard, but it is not comparable to those that have to cross the desert, cross country, trying to evade authorities, cartel, and then more authorities on both sides of the fence, and then having to navigate your way here with no papers as you go out and try to find some sort of job and living in this part of the world. All right? That is a reality. So look, you got to look at it from both sides. And I don't think that a lot of people out there are unfortunately looking at it from both sides. And I'm here to tell you that I'm definitely here to do that. Big Ink MMA says, I'm doing great. How you been, my man? I'm doing very great, by the way. Sorry, I had to go on a little bit of a long monologue there before I answer that question, but I really needed to get that out because there are two sides to this equation that I think is really important for people to understand. Also, for my MMA guys out there, understand that we're also going to talk about UFC 316. Peña speaks about her post-loss. Also, we're going to talk about UFC Atlanta Full Card. We're going to get to all of that relatively quickly because the main event here is about the riots. So I need you guys to be patient. I need you guys to lock in. I need you guys to hit the like and subscribe button. I need you guys to get your coffee, your popcorn, whatever it is that you need when you are watching something that is of epic proportions, such as watching Mission Impossible in the theaters or watching Minecraft on 3D, which, by the way, I have some glasses for it here somewhere. So here it is. If you guys were in the movie theaters to watch Minecraft, just understand that right here is the glasses that you watched the 3D with, right? I don't know if this works for that one. But then Fresh Melon Juice says, remember your name, Bilal. Well, my name is not Bilal, but are you saying that I resemble Bilal Muhammad in the current moment of time with the beard and the sunglasses? And if so, let me know. And then I've probably a little bit of the, Arab hairline as well to go with it, right? But shout out to Marty Miller. Flex emojis up. And everybody around the world that's tapped in right now, not only do I need you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but also hit on the comment section below what part of the world you are from. Fresh Melon Juice says, yes, glasses in the octagon and weigh-in. Okay. You know what? We're on to something here. Okay, so maybe I might go along with the Bilal Muhammad look, or you know what? Maybe if I go along with this look, I may help Bilal Muhammad give a little bit of a personality, right? Because imagine if I go viral as the Bilal Muhammad lookalike, right? And then Bilal Muhammad's like, hey, dude, this guy's more popular than me, but I'm the world champ. You need a mustache. True. Arab guys don't do what the Dagestanis do, right? They sort of like the mustache, right? It's sort of like a following that they have with the Armenians, the Persians. But when it comes down to Gulf Arabia, Salafi, Orthodox Sunni Muslim culture, you got to get rid of the beard, the mustache, and that's what it is. Peña is a former Mexican now. I didn't know that, Ken Carson. Shout out to you, Ken Carson. Make Up Iranian says hi. Hi, how are you? Shout outs to everyone from Iran. Ken Carlson, I want to ask you about that particular subject matter. She said that she's a former Mexican now. I don't think that she ever was. She said that she's Venezuelan. But on any regard, everybody give a welcome to Ken Carson. I believe he's a new chatter here. I hope you're a new subscriber as well. I hope you do subscribe. Makeup Iranian as well. Give a shout out to them. And everybody around the world, let me know what part of the world you are from as we get to these news topics and what is going on around the world. All right, so first, obviously, Peña speaks after her loss in the octagon, right? Let us delve into that particular subject first, and then we're going to get into the LA riots. So please stay tuned for this ride right here that we are about to embark on. Come along on a fantastic slide, slippity slide. Okay, you guys know the rest. All right, so Ben Askren is also in the news. Oh, man, how disrespectful of me to not even make this a particular focal point. We will talk about that as a bonus particular subject. And let's see. Let's take a look at Peña right now. Okay. So what are some news that Peña says release a statement following the loss? Okay, so let us go with MMA fighting from 1 day ago. Shout out to El-Kheer. By the way, believe it or not, a journalist that I have been watching for a long time. And give credit where credit is due. One of the guys that inspired me to get into MMA journalism, because I said, man, if a dork like that can make it, man, I can absolutely tear it up in the world of MMA, YouTubing, and journalism. All right. So Juliana Peña. Oh, wait. Hold on. We need Korean on every rooftop. They'll stop the riots. Ooh, okay. Fresh Melon Juice. We're about to get into some hot topics on that. First on Juliana Peña, then we'll get to LA, okay? So, okay. Russian newsman voice time. Let's go, da. Juliana Peña expects to still be in championship conversation whenever she returns to action. The Venezuelan vixen fell short in her first defense of her second bantamweight championship reign in Saturday at UFC 316, where she was submitted by Kayla Harrison in the evening's co-main event. Afterwards, Harrison called returning legend Amanda Nunes out in the crowd to face off with her in cage and lay the groundwork for dream match between two of the most accomplished women in history of combat sports. Regardless of how the fight goes, the 35-year-old Peña plans to be next in line. She released a statement Sunday addressing the loss and letting her rivals know she wants the winner of the upcoming matchup. Time to get healed up and get ready for next fight because I'm calling dibs on winner, Peña wrote on Instagram. See her post below. Okay, what did Venezuelan Vixen here say? She says, "Thank you to all my fans who lifted me with your love and encouragement during the hashtag fight camp. I love all of you. I feel so grateful for the support and the energy you guys give me. It truly means the world. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get the job done. I'm super disappointed, but hats off to Kayla Harrison and her win. Time to get healed up and get ready for the next fight because I'm calling winner on dibs on." Okay, you guys get the point. All right. So you understand. Okay, I'm just gonna get to my normal American voice. Okay, so I'm sorry I wasn't able to get the job done. Peña wrote, "I'm super disappointed. Hats off to Kayla on her win." What they probably would sound like if they started taking roids and whatnot. Peña is now 0-2 in the title defenses after her two stints. Okay, let me get to my serious voice here. Okay, she pulled off a legendary upset against Amanda Nunes. 269, right? You remember that? Back when the title was back to the Lioness, Amanda Nunes, who immediately rematched her 7 months later, okay? And then Peña won the title again with a contentious split decision, okay? Went over Raquel Pennington at 307 this past October, but again, fell as champion when she ran into Kayla Harrison this past Saturday. So, again, there's no official announcement that's been yet made for Harrison versus Nunes, but there's a very good reason to assume that this is going to be the next match booked in 2026. Malcolm X says, "Are you Pakistani?" No, I am not. I am half Arabic and half Pacific Islander. Shout out to Malcolm X. I like your name, by the way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah barakatuh, brother. I don't know if you are Muslim, but I would assume maybe you are. But shout out to you nonetheless. Harrison improved to 3-0 in the UFC with an overall 9-1 with her dominant win over Peña. 34-year-old Ohio native now joins Henry Cejudo as the only Olympic champion and also becoming a UFC champion, with Harrison having won twice the Olympic gold. Okay, so she launched her career in the PFL where she won 2 league tournaments competing at 155. Okay, now at 37, Nunes, former 2-division champion at bantamweight and featherweight, recently announced that she's coming out of retirement. Initially hung up her gloves in 2023 following a win over Irene Aldana and her 6th successful bantamweight title defense overall ever since 2014. Now, Nunes has compiled a 14-1 record with her only loss coming in the hand of Peña. Okay, so that right there is Juliana Peña coming out with a statement saying that she's got dibs on the winner. You know what? Sometimes when you have a division like that, it's not that far-fetched to say, hey, you know what? All right, she got next. Because why not? The reason why the why not is because who else? The why not, right? Who else is viable to get that shot? And I'm not opposed to her getting that shot. A lot of you shouldn't be either because, quite frankly, there isn't really a lot of choices there. Also, the Jon Jones situation. Wow. Yeah, the Jon Jones situation. What can we say about the Jon Jones situation here? Horrible. Horrible. Okay, hold on. Let me re-title this because this is the... Okay. So I'm just adding this into the title right now. Okay, so I had to type that in right there. Dana White surprised John Jones. Hold on, let me put a timestamp on this as well. Doesn't want to fight anyone. Okay, and the timestamp for this one, it is going to be 21 minutes. Okay. So, all right. What up, Corey says. Okay, so let's get to the what up, Corey? Let's get to this subject with Dana White. Surprised that John Jones doesn't want to fight anyone, or Tom Aspinall for that matter, but mostly doesn't want to fight anyone. Okay, so why is that? Why is it that John Jones is said to not have wanting to fight anyone? Look, here's the thing, guys. A lot of people were saying, especially MMA Guru, saying that Dana White looks flustered by all of these things that are happening, right? He's surprised that John Jones doesn't want to fight. He's saying things like as if he's trying to hide something. Well, duh. Of course he's trying to hide something because he doesn't want to reveal to you guys that he has a fight going on. But why is he also confident in saying, yeah, there's a fight going on? Because he's trying to tell you guys that it is yet to be announced. Now, if he doesn't announce it officially, then that means you, as the MMA journalist, the blogger, and the YouTuber and content creator in the MMA space, can't go out there and give a confirmed order. The only thing that you can say is that, yeah, we have that fight going on because Dana said so, but there is no confirmed date. When there is no confirmed date, there is no confirmed evidence. So anything that is just being said right now is a hearsay. Look, guys, everybody is playing you, and you guys are playing up to it. But the only thing is, I think there's a lot of people out there that know and they understand, such as MMA Guru, because he talks to Tom Aspinall. And on top of that, I think he's just rage baiting you people into getting views. And you know what? I'm doing the same thing. I don't mind rage baiting people, at least not on the MMA side, because I'm very firm with the idea that this fight is happening. And maybe that is rage bait for some people. The fact that, you know what, I know that the fight is happening based on these particular results, how the UFC moves as a company, as a PR machine, and as a marketing genius of Dana White. Fresh Melon Juice says, Dana knows everything. Dana said Khabib was going to fight when he was retired. It's all on Dana. Okay, I see what you mean. Toxic gameplay. So Kyrie with the hater blockers on. That's right, my man. Toxic gameplays, man. You know what? For somebody with a name like Toxic Gameplays, you are probably a very pleasant person to be around, right? I mean, obviously, you don't come in here and troll anyone. You don't give anyone headaches. You're very respectful. But I think that probably comes with the fact that you do box and you do understand the level of combat and pain that men go through. And I think anybody that trains or has that kind of experience, I think humbles them in a very good way. So I think that is, the overall makeup of your personality. But then again, there's other fighters out there that are no good human beings. For example, obviously there is, the likes of John Jones, who has had the troubles that he's had, Conor McGregor, who's had the troubles that he's had, now not having and garnering the attention and the support of his own country, to where the only fans that he really has left right now are the fans that just want to hang on for clout. If you really think about it, right? Aryu Musim says, okay, shout outs to you with the Arabic letters right there. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh to you, my man. So why is it that these fighters are like that, right? And a lot of these fighters who do train are humble, right? I mean, the average guy that you meet who's not a world-class fighter who trains, you see that they're humble people, right? You just training alone humbles you. Why is it that somebody like John Jones and Conor McGregor are not like that? Well, they have different life experiences. And also, here's another thing that I think is worth mentioning and understanding, right? I've always told people that I can relate a lot to Black Americans who come from the urban hood environment, right? I'm going to tell you why. Because I got a little bit of cocky sazz and pizzazz in me a little bit, right? I have that. Like, yes, I'm a Muslim. I'm supposed to be humble. I do that. I try very hard to follow the rules of Islam. I do that. I do live that life. I do live the life of prayer and everything in between, from fasting and all of that, right? I'm all about that. But obviously, I didn't grow up with the Dagestanis. See, these guys, they didn't have the cultural disadvantage that we have as Americans. See, here, everything in America is all about trying to prove yourself every time, ever since you are this yay high, right? That's just the reality of America. Everything is about zazz and pizzazz and bravado and everything in between. And there is no community that does that better than that of the African American urban community. And then you could add the Latinos, the Samoans, and the hood Asians in that particular setting as well. But the reality is this, right? The reality is that when you grow up in an environment like the West, it imposes you to be dominant, to be the alpha dog, and let everybody know about it. Okay, because you know what? The kind of culture that we have, they down you if you don't make enough, or if you don't make anything at all, or this and that. They look at everything as within that reign of status. So by understanding the metric of that world, you know, it's very hard to be humble growing up in the West. It's not like with Khabib and people that grow up in full-blown Islamic countries. I'm going to give you an example of this. When I went to Egypt back in 2005, I went and attended a wedding. I met with an Egyptian American who was from New York there, and I saw him calling this other fat kid in Egypt in a wedding in this town called Menafia in Egypt, right? He called him, he says, "Hey, Taqin, ta'alan ya Taqin." You know, ta'alan ya Taqin. You know what that means? That means, yeah, come here, fat boy, is what he was basically saying to him. I said, bro, listen, you can't be saying that to this kid. You're going to break his confidence. He says, no, not here. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He says, you can't break their confidence here because the type of people that they are here, they're not bound by the pressures that you have as a male in the United States. Boom! Right after that, my mind was completely blown through proportions as to figuring out, like, why is it that this guy is saying that these kids don't get affected by that? Because guess what? Here, when you're in middle school, everything that you do is predicated on trying to impress a girl. And guess what? That within that result, you know what you get? You get a culture of simps. And that's the reality of that particular subject. All right, so Fresh Melon Juice says, Canelo answered he could unalive a person in 5 seconds. John answered at least 20 seconds. Who's humble? Huh. Well, none, obviously, Fresh Melon Juice. That's a very good, I'm going to pin that right there, okay? The reason why that's an interesting question, and the reason why I'm going to say that none of them are humble, is because you have to look at the two cultures that John Jones and Canelo came from, right? And this is a great example that's going to segue us into the Los Angeles riots that we are talking about, right? John Jones comes from an African-American sports culture, right? Elite sports culture. His brothers, top-notch NFL players. His, what do you call it? His other brother is another top-notch NFL player, and he's the greatest of all time, depending on who you ask, in the world of MMA, right? So they're a very athletic family, right? Look, why I tell you that I can relate to many African Americans who come from urban environments is because many of them were growing up in environments where they were constantly told you're never going to be anything, because let's just be honest, right? Certain communities are a little bit more negative than others. So as a result of that negativity, what you get sometimes is a backlash from people that live through that culture and how they exert it to the outside world. You understand what I'm saying? So I can relate to John in that capacity. He has a certain ego about him. Look at the culture that he comes from. That's Black American culture, especially when you come from a sporting culture. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of African American dads that were very hard on their kids. But guess what? A lot of them became superstar athletes as a result of that. Take a look at LeVar Ball. That's an example of that, right? African American dad who was hard on his kids, but at the same time, he brought out the best in them. But shout out to LeVar Ball. I know he's going through a very tough medical condition right now. May Allah help him, just like the people of LA, just like the people of Palestine and people of the Muslim world around the world, and this and that, right? Canelo. Why does he have an ego? Because he comes from a Mexican culture where everything is machismo, everything is, trad, right? I would say that Mexicans have a pretty base culture, pretty base traditional, masculine culture. I think that's a pretty fair assessment to make about, Mexicans, right? So he says here, Canelo answered he could. Oh, okay. Oh, Canelo answered he could kill a person in 5 seconds. John. Oh, okay, okay. I'm reading basically the same thing again. Okay, okay. So with that in mind, going back to the LA riots, right? There's this person that I've been listening to, American Cholo, right? Obviously, he is, somebody that leans to the right, okay, is very conservative, but now he's sort of not backtracking, but let's just say that he's now having a different feeling and result about his well, okay, let's listen up to what he has to say. So a little background on this guy, right? LA gang member turned conservative, American Cholo, Trump supporter, uh, supported him in the election, talks about politics, talks about gangs in LA as well. Everything that we need to know about in this particular subject. Here we go. And he's right about that, right? I think what Trump is trying to exhibit towards people is say, hey, look, man, you do realize that I am not Joe Biden by any stretch of the imagination, right? Like you guys got away with all of this with Joe Biden, but you're not going to get away with that with me, right? That is the message. That is the overall message that Trump is trying to exhibit to people out there, right? And this is the reason why you got Marines from 29 Palms deployed over there as a result of this particular matter at hand, right? So moving on to this particular subject. Now, that's a very interesting comment that American Cholo made right here, right? He said it is literally a game of chess. So, in other words, why they're bringing out the National Guards, why they are turning up the notch on these particular people is because they want to get them to react, right? Get the pawns to move a certain direction so you can eat them. For those that play chess, you understand what I mean. I barely understand chess, but yeah. Now, you see, that is not what you want right there, American Cholo, right? The last thing you want is to escalate this into a whole different level where now you got a civil war in your hands. You do not want that. All right, so we're gonna jump back and forth from American Cholo and into Myron Gaines as well, who's also covering this in his channel, right? I think it's important to yeah, to sort of get these different perspectives on a particular matter at hand. All right, let's listen into Myron Gaines. All right, so Myron's not saying much. He's just watching, a whole bunch of different news clips. Oh, wait, look right here. These are Marines deploying right here. What is this? All right, so they had about 700 Marines deployed altogether. So yeah, that's a lot, right? Like you got to understand, Marines are not trained for uh, urban American city de-escalation. It's just not their thing, right? So all right, let's get back to American Cholo. All all right, let's get back to the other one. All right, so not much going on Myron's side. Hold on, let's play American Cholo side real quick. Now, look, what's unfortunate about that is that it is true there is an element about this that is rather lucrative, right? But let me hold on just a second. Let me try and replay what I had for you guys yesterday. Look, this is all that we really have for this particular subject right now. Not really any new developments. Obviously, there's the military that's being deployed right there. Not much going on. We will find out what the escalation point will be for this one. But for now, that is all that I have for you. I will go for an hour straight. I'm going to leave this on for another 20 minutes. I will be leaving up the content that I did yesterday. Check it out in full video form view. But what I have for you right now is the first 20 minutes in audio form of yesterday's live stream. I urge you guys to check it out. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, inshallah. listen, if you're tapping in with me in the West Coast, but if you're in the East Coast, obviously it's a little bit way later actually. But if you're somewhere in Europe, this is probably going to be somewhere in the uh, morning times for you. But on any regard, we got an interesting topic that I'd like to bring up on this live stream. Okay, a few good topics regarding number one, what is going on right now with the LA riots in Los Angeles because of ICE coming in there, taking a lot of people out, and the arguments behind that. Look, there's two common arguments that go into this particular subject. Okay, the two common subjects and the two common arguments is as follows. Okay, number one, these people should have never been here in the first place because they were illegal. They should have came in here the right way. And this is always the common argument, saying something to the effect of, well, my uncle or my dad or name X, Y, and Z family member came here the right way, whatever that means, right? And oftentimes it's spoken with a different set of circumstances that may not be identical to each person. Like each person may have something that is completely different in terms of their circumstances and how they got here, right? That's one particular argument. The other argument is that, well, you're breaking families away. You're making orphans out of children. And then the other argument of that is, well, you know what? You should have never done that in the first place. You should have never broken the law, right? Similar to, let's say, if you were to go out of public in a shopping center and you're out with your kid and all of a sudden you act up and you act a fool. So, of course, it's no wonder that you're going to get jacked up, tased, and arrested, right? That goes with the territory. That's really where a lot of these people are coming from in terms of, well, you know what? You should have done this or you should have done that, without really looking at the empathetic side of the set of circumstances that that person has gone through. Now, look, here's another thing, right? There's an aspect of people out there that have had court dates for, let's say, coming in here illegally, right? So they were told that, you know what, you had to come here, go through the court systems, and then after you go through the court systems, then maybe you can try and pursue legal means of being here. But on the other side of that, unfortunately, Bomb Squad says, what is this channel about? Well, Bomb Squad, I'm glad that you asked, right? Because I'm an MMA channel, but not only am I an MMA channel, I'm also a cultural, sociological, and also a geopolitical channel as well. Like, I delve into these topics as well. The other specialty that I delve into is California politics, which sort of goes into this. And California politics by means of not only municipal, but also in the county and state level. And then on top of that, also talking about gangs as well. So HH asks, do you support such and such? Well, I got to tell you, I am a Muslim, and there are just certain things that are against our beliefs, but I do respect everyone equally. And yeah. So Bomb Squad says nobody does. Okay, a bit of an inflammatory response towards HH, but nonetheless, thank you for everybody that is tapping in right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And like I said, right, this is a channel that is multi-versed in different set of politics, different set of ideas. Obviously, I'm a Muslim by the end of the day, but we all have our own beliefs, but I also respect the beliefs of others. And also, I want to come in here and learn from your beliefs as well, right? I'm very firm in my beliefs as a Muslim, and that's that. But at the same time, I'm also willing to learn about other people's beliefs for my own set of education. Bomb Squad says, did I ask? Okay, so we got a little bit of a little conflict going on in the chat right now. So as we are speaking on this particular subject, right, we're looking at this particular subject with the LA riots in two different lenses. The first lens that we look at the LA riots is that well, all right, there's law and order, but at what point, at what cost is it lawful, or is it a set of law and order for you to take families away from each other? Now, I got to tell you, the other question that I think we're going to get out of this riot is, what type of country do we want to be as the United States? Do we want to be a country that has, well, for some people's viewing, sort of a fascist set of views in terms of just taking people's families away from each other or this and that? But that's one side of the coin. The other coin is, man, we got to have law and order, right? There's all of these things going on. HH says, I have no clue what's going on. In terms of what exactly, HH, you have no clue what's going on. Are you talking about specifically the riots, or are you talking about specifically the matter subject at hand that someone is speaking to you about in the chat? But either way, I would like to know, and let me know. And we are here to engage and have a civil discourse with one another, whether we agree with our own views or whether we don't, right? I know that as a Muslim and as somebody that stands firm on that, there were many years where I was, well, how do I say this? Very intolerant of other people, right? To a certain extent, there are certain things that as a Muslim and what I believe in, I'm not going to tolerate. But at the age that I'm at right now, I'm also very much eager to learn about everybody and what it is that they have to offer. Also, what it is that forces people to think the way that they do. So a real true student of the game, I think, is the best way to put it. So the other subjects that we're going to talk about, obviously some bonus subjects talking about Trump and Elon Musk. Now, you're probably going to wonder, how will that relate to your life? Well, in multitudes of ways, right? Obviously, there's the aspects of the economy within the United States that you have to deal with. And also, if Trump decides to make moves around that, like, will he somehow make moves around Elon Musk in a very emotional way where it could damage the relationship between, let's say, SpaceX or the other forms of exploration that they're going to do? And also, what about Doge? Now, I know it's a very controversial subject. Maybe there are some people out there that like Doge. They may not like Doge, or they may love what Doge has going on, or maybe they don't, or maybe you think that it's effective. But either way, whatever aisle you're going to sit on in that particular subject of Doge, rest assured that's going to change in a certain matter when it comes to the emotions that Trump and Elon Musk has going on. And you know what? Here's the thing about it, right? I think a lot of people are very fascinated by this particular beef with Trump and Elon, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason why people are highly fascinated with this beef is because you look at somebody like Trump, you look at somebody like Elon Musk, and then you look at their accomplishments, you look at the power that they both hold, the power that they both give each other, and the power that they facilitate for each other, and you think, this is virtually impossible that these two men are going to somehow ever beef with each other or behave like gang members on the streets or WAC 100 on Clubhouse arguing with Big U, right? Well, it's, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, just look up what I'm talking about. They're basically gangster influencers online, and that is basically how Trump and Elon Musk are behaving. So when you look at that, you think, man, that is above them. That is beneath them to do something like that. But is it though? And the reality is it's not. You ever oftentimes remembered when you were in grade school, right? You've seen a teacher do something that was out of the norm. At least that's how I remembered it in the 90s. Obviously, it's a different generation now, but if you went to grade school in the 90s, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where the teacher would act as if they were, how do I say this? Holy art thou, right? They could do no wrong. And then all of a sudden, one day, you heard them coming out of their break room or their lunchroom cursing a storm, and you think, wow, a teacher would never be able to be capable of that. But the reality is they are. They are very much capable of that.
And you know what? All your leaders, all your parents that you thought were perfect all your life, all your pastors, your imams, your rabbis, or whoever it is, you often think that they are perfect people, but the reality is maybe they're not. And Elon Musk and Trump, with the position that they are at in the world right now, I think can really give you that insight clue as to the reality of who they are, right? And who they are is when you strip them down to the core of not being a billionaire, not being the president, not being an oligarch in the world of technology, not being the number one leader in the world, in the free world, that is, right? You strip all that down. What are they really? They are just men who are all about their egos. And just like us, we are all about our egos. For example, why is it that I love to get in here and talk to you guys? It's really that simple. It's ego. I want to do good. I want to become a YouTube star, and I want to do great on YouTube, and I want to do great in the MMA space in this particular genre, but also expand in other genres, and that takes ego. Now, as you know, I'm an MMA channel on a conventional level, right? On the normal sense, or in the homeostasis of the reality of this page. That is what I am to the core, an MMA page. But why is it that I'm here doing content regarding the LA riots and also regarding other MMA subject matters at hand? It's all about ego, but also it's just also personal interest and also just trying to understand. Because going back to the LA riots, okay, I think it's really essential to understand that there are two sides to this particular coin and two sides to this particular subject. Now, for those people that are all about the law and order, that support ICE, support Donald Trump, I understand why you think that way, and I understand why you stand on that. But for the people that are affected by it, the families that are affected by it, I completely understand on their particular matter too. But however, the people that are pro-Trump and pro-ICE, I think there is one particular element that they are missing, and that is the element of humanity, right? Because I understand you can say, well, you know what? They should have never crossed over in the border in the first place, right? They're the ones that brought their children into this. I understand, but the fact is the children are still involved. And at what point do you ask yourself as a human being the difference between law and order and the difference between doing what is right and what is good? You got to understand, right? The one thing that I think America is very special at in comparison to anyone in the world. And if you want to know what that is, I need you guys to hit the like and button, the subscribe button, so that I can tell you exactly what makes America exceptional anywhere else in the world other than, other countries that may emulate or may try to follow suit in what America has going on. Okay, it's this, okay? I need you to understand this. America is great at allowing discretion. Okay, what do I mean by discretion? Well, obviously, there is a balance of power, okay, that is going on in America, right? Or checking the power about checking the balance of power, right? You have the executive branch, you have the other branches of government that are in the United States. You have the judicial branch, which is separate from the executive branch, which ultimately encompasses the president. And then you have state laws, you have municipal laws, and then you have states that can act on their own and create laws on their own. Like, for example, some states may allow marijuana, some don't. Some states allow gun usage, some don't. Some allow an open carry, some don't. Some don't allow you to have guns at all. Some have stricter restrictions on guns. But actually, there's no parts of America that don't allow you to have guns. It's just the different states that have different different discretions and how they go about it. And that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that what is exceptional about America is that it allows you to have discretion. And this is where the problem lies right now with this riot. So you have Trump, who is exercising his executive power to the fullest extent. How exactly is he doing that? Well, for one, he's deploying Marines to LA, right? And this is very unusual because this is not what Marines do. What Marines do are overseas operations, and usually one of their biggest specialties, believe it or not, is embassy security. As a U.S. Marine, one of your specialties as a U.S. Marine is embassy security. You guys understand that, right? If you go to any American base around the world, there are Marines that are deployed there as a security force. So what does that mean? That means that Marines were made for overseas operations, not operations within the United States where they are potentially targeting Americans. Now, where is it that Trump got this idea that he could bring in United States Marines inside America? Well, I think the fact that there are foreign nationals involved, there are illegals involved, and then there are people that are willing to help them being involved, that is where the justification probably lies within trying to, I guess, have full justification and full on rights to be able to execute this on right to be able to execute this particular matter at hand, right? Uh, but again, I think it's a little bit over the line. When you say it's a little bit over the line, and at what point will some of his supporters understand that, you know what, this is going a little above and beyond? And I don't know. I don't think that they will, man, because by the end of the day, I think that the Trump supporters are going to support him nonetheless. But another topic that we wanted to talk about in this particular live stream that I put on the description below. Also, why did Dana White say at the UFC post-fight press conference at UFC 316 New Jersey that John Jones agreed to fight Tom Aspinall? Right, we're going to talk about that particular subject as well, right? Why did he say that? Was there any merit to him saying that, or is there really a lot of things going on behind the scenes? Again, I'm going to go back to my original take, which is that I think they are waiting to announce it, and as such, they want to build so much anticipation that they're not only keeping a gag order, but maybe even going as far as, how do I say this, even playing along with the possibility that this John Jones and Tom Aspinall fight is not going to happen. But more on that, because there's a lot of subject matters that we can get at with this LA riots thing, right? So let me see what are some of the live streams that are covering this right now. Okay, so it looks like we got Ma. All right, you guys. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hold on, mic check 1 2 1 2. This is me live right now, so mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, so this is what I. Oh, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, so we're clear right now. Are we clear? All right, perfect. So, all right, let's get to this comment right here. G says, go back to Mexico. Well, first of all, me personally, I'm not from Mexico, but this is what I mean. I want to highlight this comment right here, right? Because not only do I want people to understand how ignorant
this particular comment is, but really just a blanket statement. And thank you so much, G, whatever your name is, or this and that. I don't know if you're faceless, or if you got a channel, or if you got anything going on, or this and that. I really don't know. I really don't care, but I'm going to address this particular comment because, once again, it's a very blanketed comment, right? Who are you talking to when you're saying that, right? Like, how do you know you're not talking to somebody that is a full-blown citizen, or somebody that has whatever it is that they have going on here in terms of legalization, right? It's a blanket statement. I think it's just nothing more than an excuse to feel better about yourself and to feel better about your sense of racism. But on top of that, understand this: just because a law is a law and it's being implemented, it doesn't mean that it is somehow correct in the terms of correction, where let's say that, okay, this is the ultimate possession of morality. That's not always the case. Look, what I'm trying to say is that I understand that there is an aspect of law and order that you must follow. There are rules to everything, because if there are no rules, and what we have is just nothing more than chaos, and that I can understand and get behind. But the other thing you have to understand is that there's nuances that many people go through in their lives that are just not as simple as just, quote unquote, let's say, just following the rules. I want to read to you. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave it off with this video, right? And I'm going to show you a conversation I had with a buddy of mine, right? Because I think it's very important to, really have this particular conversation, right? Let me see here. I'm going to show this to you guys, and then we're going to call it quits by the end of the day, because I don't want this to go too long, so that other people can have the, I guess, capacity to watch it, the attention span capacity to watch it later on, okay? Okay, hold on just a second. Okay. So this is what my buddy of mine said, right? It's important to, really have these types of conversations, okay? I want you guys to read it yourselves, and then we're going to call it quits from here, okay? For those of you that care enough, you can pause it, read it, do what you wish with it, right? But it's important to have these conversations. But yeah, on any regard, that is all that I have for you guys right now. If you really want to understand how to properly debate these particular subjects, I urge you guys to pause that, read it, and understand where both of our points are coming from. But with that in mind, that is all that I have for you with this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one, inshallah. And by the way, G, I'm blocking you for that one, because we can't have statements like that here. We don't know if that's going to cause some sort of problem. But you can come back tomorrow and try again. But until then, guys, like and subscribe. See you in the next one.